So in today's podcast, I'm going to talk to you about my favorite thing. They call me basically a six-figure coach creator because we have helped over 18 coaches break $100,000 a month in the last 12 months alone. Now, why I think this is cool? I think it's just a cool landmark to get through, and not many people can do it. Now, the biggest thing you actually have to understand is for you to break six figures a month is actually a big mindset thing. So I love the story of Roger Bannister and the 4-minute mile. Everyone thought if you tried to run a mile in under 4 minutes, you would die and have a heart attack and go into the fetal position. Now, the reality is that was clearly not true. And after 6 months of Roger Bannister doing it, I think 24 people had broken the 4-minute mile, which shows, if you are listening to this right now, the limiting belief you have of why you are not as successful as you want to be is who you are exposed to and what you're surrounded by. Because if you surround yourself with winners, if you surround yourself in a community with 18 other coaches doing 6 figures a month, do you think you would be the 19th? Do you think the probability of that would increase? Most likely. Now, for you to scale the business up to breaking 100K a month, is going to come down to different skill sets. Number one is going to be your ability to do two things: book calls and close calls. How can you consistently generate traffic, consistently, not just like one day from a viral reel or a YouTube video that pops off, but consistently book decent call volume every single day? Secondly, how can you consistently close consistent call volume every day and also at decent prices? Because the easiest way for you to get a six-figure coaching business is to charge higher prices. And that's one of the big bottlenecks a lot of people have, is the limiting belief. But it can also come down to the niche you're trying to target. Now, why I'm so passionate about helping trainers get to 6 figures months, and actually I think people should celebrate this more when they did. I actually can't remember the first time I did 100K a month. It was a long time ago. I think we've done 52, 54 months in a row. Now, the reason I think people need to think that's important is because you should still have a very good profit margin in your business. The percentage we recommend is at least 50, 52%. So if you make 100K, you should be making around 50 grand a month profit. If you make £50,000 a month profit, let's say you take 10,000 to live off. Let's say you're tax efficient. Yeah, you've got £380,000 a year you can invest in. Now, if you took that £380,000, you bought one apartment a year for 5 years, you would basically have enough income you probably would never need to work again, just from the rental income. And that's how, if you're in your early 20s, you're in your late 20s, you're in your early 30s, you can actually start to build a business that's going to give you the life you want and it's going to give you freedom. Because you actually have to start with the end in mind. Why are you doing this? Is this a vanity metrics? Why do you actually want to get to 100K a month? Why are you scaling your coaching business? It's for you. It's for your future family. It's for people you want to provide for. Yes, you want to have an impact, but you have to create income from that as well. So as your business scales, what also scales is your assets and stuff outside of that, which means you can actually grow your own personal wealth, which will give you more security. And the more security you have, the more aggressive you can also be in growing your business, because you have, what's most important is peace of mind. Being able to sleep at night, because I know what it's like to be incredibly stressed. I know what it's like to have Stripe accounts shut down, losing £250,000. I know what it's like to have your main Instagram account shut down, which was like 90% of my revenue in 2022 for 3-4 weeks. It's hard. And the pressure as your business grows will increase. And if you want to have a big life, you're going to have to deal with big problems. But this is why business is all about self-development and personal development. But also the easiest way to do that is to be able to bounce off other people who are in the same position or who have done the thing you want to do. Now, as you're starting to come up to 100K a month, the numbers really, really matter. And this comes down to two in particular, not even front end. One is your churn rate, how many clients are leaving, and the second is your referrals. How many clients you actually bring into the business. We have a client referral system and a referral flywheel that we teach to our clients, specific scaling systems, where essentially the goal is one client, then refers 2 clients. If every client did that, your business would grow forever, for free, indefinitely. That would literally become a cash machine. The second thing, keeping your churn rate down. We have a playbook in terms of how we can actually reduce your churn rate in a business by 50%. If you stopped half of your clients leaving when you're doing over 40, 50K a month, would that have a big impact in your business? Astronomical. Because one of the biggest things they actually value businesses on is revenue retention. How much revenue you're retaining going into next year. Now, where I like coaches to have their churn rate is under 5-6%. If you're under that, you're in a good place where you can really, really grow. If not, you're just going to end up pulling in more people who are then going to leave out that back door, and essentially you just built up a sales and marketing machine that's just going to churn. And the biggest thing we've actually built all of our businesses off, one is off of referrals, and that's by actually doing a great job with clients and getting results. And then secondly, it's actually keeping the churn and retention high. And if you don't actually look at those things, you're just building a churn and burn business model, which is very, very stressful and also not as profitable as it could be. Now, a great example of one of our clients who's done this absolutely crushed is Dave Kennedy. I remember him saying to me the month before he joined us, he was doing around 15,000 euros a month. He's now doing around 150,000 euros a month, maybe 18 months later. That's a 10x. Why? Because firstly, him and his brother Michael are beasts. Go and check out the podcast with them. But also, they were given the right strategy, the right playbook, and they did the right things in the right orders, and they solved the right problem at the right time. Because if you actually think about how your business needs to grow and theory of constraints and the point of constraint, if you fix the right problem, but at the wrong time, it's not actually going to help your business. It's actually going to make it worse for your business because you're doing things that don't need to be done. And this is probably why you feel overwhelmed, because you're like, I've got this fire over here, I've got this fire over here, I've got this fire over here, I've got this fire over here. There's always going to be fires. You just got to pick which one's the most urgent to put out, and not burn the whole fucking house down. And the reality is, this is kind of how business works. It's like, you got 5 kids, one of them's going to die. Which one's going to die? Like, kind of a weird analogy, but kind of the way it kind of works, right? So you have to try and think, okay, what's the most important thing that we need to solve right now? And that comes down from actually looking at all the numbers in your business. So some important numbers you need to know. 1 would be your LTV, lifetime value of a customer. 2 would be your lifetime gross profit of a customer. 3 would be your cost to acquire a customer. And your cost to acquire a customer, a lot of people get wrong. So I'm going to explain that briefly. And that's essentially, your cost to acquire a customer would be like all media spend. So like videographers, filming, all that type of stuff, editors, how much you spend on paid ads, how much you spend on DM setters, how much your closing team costs. That is your actual cost to acquire a customer. You take that total and you divide it by how many new signups you have in a month. That would be your cost to acquire a customer. So those are the base things I look at. We want to look at obviously your churn rate, closing rate, show rate, how many calls are getting booked, conversion rates in terms of funnels, depending on what strategies you're running. And this is where essentially it's a game of math. And this is where, like, us having done this for a very long period of time and worked with hundreds and hundreds of trainers, and be like, that number's off, because we just know, because we've seen the same thing over and over and over again. And what I would suggest to you to actually try and identify in your own business is, if you fix the problems further upstream, it has a bigger impact. Which is why I said to you that you can put a fire out, but it might not be the most important fire. It might be the fire that's next to the petrol converter that builds you electricity in your house that will then blow the whole house up. That's probably the one you want to put out first, rather than the fire that's in the trash can outside, because that's contained. So try and think with that type of framework, and then your business will scale faster. Now, when I work with coaches and they get to 100K a month, so they're breaking through this and looking to scale further, the biggest challenge I see is a limiting belief mentally. Why? Because once they break 100K once, they stay there and they keep going through and keep going through, and they stay above that line, because you have a limiting belief in terms of what's possible. And once you've done that, and you've done 100K a month, you see how many calls you need to book, you see how to close them, you know. Your brain is incredibly smart, but you just need to feed it the right belief tools and belief mechanisms, which is really the thing we drive home into our clients to help them, so they actually know this is normal and can be done. And I remember when I spoke at, it was another masterminds event in the OT in December, maybe January 2021, maybe 2020. I was doing 130K a month at that point. People fell off their fucking chairs because they'd never heard anything like it. And that's the reality of, if you're not in a group where people are doing big numbers, you're in the wrong group, because you being a big fish in a small pond doesn't help you grow. Like, what you actually want to do is be a small fish in a big pond, because you can grow into that. And you'll also learn from the people around you, and you'll see what winners do, because then what happens? You mirror the winners. You see how they deal with their team. You see how they deal with problems. Maybe you see how they market. And this is where we have such a successful community within 7-Figure Scaling Systems, because we have a tight-knit group of 200-300 trainers who actually share what's working and then help each other. Because the biggest opportunity you don't understand right now is in fitness, because the obesity problem is only getting worse, people's mental health is only getting worse, and the solution to this is getting in shape. And you can be the person who bridges that gap, but also now bridges that gap with some of the latest cutting edge tools never seen before, which we're releasing with AI from our own business, and we're installing that into our clients' businesses. And this is how, in the next 2-3 years, there's going to be a gap. The people who use these tools, who are smart, will grow faster and faster and faster. The others will be left behind. And that's how the industry is going to change and how everything is going to be warped, essentially. And if you're not riding that wave and you're not using some of the tools we're building that no one else has, based upon 50,000 sales calls from my own fitness business, you will get left behind. And if you want help in terms of how not to get left behind, and you want to hit your first 10K, 50K a month, break 100K a month, hit the link below this video. You can book in a call with our team. We'll walk you through exactly auditing your entire business, what the bottlenecks are, what the points straight are. We can show you how we can help you become our next success story. So I implore you for your future, if you want to be successful with what way the world's changing, you need to take action on this right now. Otherwise, you're just going to kick the can down the road and you're going to regret it big time. If you took value from this podcast, make sure you smash the like button, share it with a friend, and we'll see you in the next episode coming up of the Fit Pro podcast series.